This is the Nutnfancy project, TMP. Started in 2008, running at high speed here in YouTube since that time. Who knows what the future holds? It's the first of its kind. What I've come to call a gear adventure channel, which I think accurately describes one of the key concepts here in TMP. That is, I go out on adventures with family, friends, crew members, test my favorite, underline favorite, gear, get data for it, come back here on the tabletop, and I share the experiences with you in video and verbal form. Hey dudes, summer 2012, this is of course Nutnfancy, and I talk a lot about systems here in the Nutnfancy project. In other words, integrating all the stuff you need for a given adventure into a workable, durable, hopefully ergonomic system. And I get excited when I can find gear that streamlines and improves, truly improves my own systems. This is what I'm talking about. Not too long ago, got back from the Over the Ledge adventure. You'll see the caption there at the top if you want to check out at least part of those videos. And this is the stuff I wanted to have immediately accessible on that adventure. It always changes loadout to loadout. Keep in mind some of this stuff is redundant because I am a gear reviewer, so I might take two of something. Let's see. Glock 26, extra magazine, Spot 2, GPS messenger, Leatherman MDMT, that is medium duty multi-tool. This is of course the Juice XE6. Okay, I wanted to have that one along for the ride. How about this? I can't share the experiences with you unless I got one of these. So I have at least 2, maybe 3 cameras with me with all kinds of extra batteries. This one, by the way, is totally broken now. Ruined on the Fish Tacos Pacific Ocean outing. Totally got douched with seawater. Oh man, that sucked. $1,100 camera, toast. Let's pretend it's working though, and it did come along with Over the Ledge Expedition. Had about, I don't know, 5 of these batteries going along with it. But this is stuff I want to have immediately accessible, so that. Of course, the knives. Over the Ledge, I took a couple different knives. I don't want to show you yet. On the Pacific Ocean outing, I took this one. Pacific Salt H1 steel Spyderco variety. And then I had a smaller blade, something like this. Oh, nice. Sprint Run Blue G10 Spyderco Ambitious 8CR13 MOV steel. Okay. So that's going to come along for the ride. I want it accessible, ready to rock and roll. Over the Ledge fire kit. In there you'll find a lighter, flint and steel, REI lifeboat matches, trioxane. Sunscreen. Definitely got to have this. Lens cleaner. The cameras are always getting dirty, or in this case, completely wet. Not cool. Lexan silverware. Got to be ready for the grub, right? Headlamp. This one's an old school P3D, y'all. Riding in a Phoenix headband. I love the burn time on this. That's why I'm running it these days. It's a CR123 high performance multi-mode flashlight if you're new to the project. I reviewed this like in 09. Still using it, love it. Okay, so I want that. Extra batteries, of course. These days on backpacking trips I'm going for primaries, non-rechargeables, because they always work. A little bit lighter weight too. Going along with the singling, how about the Gerber polycarbonate singling mirror? I want that to go. Whistle comes along, usually around my neck, but if it ain't, I want it to be somewhere. Immediately accessible. Blue shop towels. The holster for the Glock 26 to cover that trigger when it's loaded. It's just a polymer Glock factory belt slide, which works great, especially in the system I'm going to show you. And there's probably some other stuff I'm forgetting. But that is the core of, for instance, the Over the Ledge backpacking rappel trip. The stuff that I wanted to have like right on my person. How do I carry all this? In my pockets? I don't think so. Not especially with the camera, the batteries, and the large things, relatively large like the Glock 26. The way I did it was with a system that I love, and it's gone out on many adventures. Say hello to the Nutnfancy tabletop review of the Ribz front pack. I hooked into this. I shouldn't say hooked into it, but I saw it for the first time, at least in person, with my friend Crockett on the Moonscape backpacking adventure we did a couple years ago. He showed up with one. I can't lie to you guys, I am very skeptical of new gear. I'm contacted frequently by all types of manufacturers, inventors that want camera time here in TMP. I generally say thank you, but no thank you. And I thought pretty much the same way when I saw the Ribz at first. I was like, oh no, here we go. Trying to get into TMP, you know, camera, and I don't know. I was just really reticent to give it in any play until I started looking at it. And more importantly, using it. This thing will transform how you do business in your outdoor activities. Maybe other activities, and that will take us right into philosophy of use with the Ribz front pack. I would say Outback EDC. When I say Outback EDC, what I'm talking about is you're out in the wilderness, the woods, the mountains, the swamps, wherever you adventure. And like me, you have a certain, I don't know, list of items you want to be readily accessible to you. This is how you should carry it, in my opinion. And don't go overboard either. Just because you can doesn't mean you should when it comes to carrying stuff. But if you pare it down, you scrub it, that is, make sure you really need it. The Ribz front pack is the way to go in my experience. Outback EDC, everything's going to be on you. If you wander away from the camp, if something weird happens up there in the out of doors, you have your basic and core items with you at all times. That's cool. I would also say urban EDC. Urban EDC, Nutnfancy. Yeah, totally. I tried it. Carrying the front pack around, I didn't really get funny looks. I think people just maybe thought it was a fishing vest or something. And most of it was when I came back from backpacking adventures, I'd go to restaurants, do some other errands, just wearing this exact one, the black one. So it's not camouflage. I've got 3 versions to show you though. Here's the camo one. This is large. This is a smaller one. It fits in, and honestly, it's a great way to carry a gun. Well, heck, let me throw that gun in there, and I got to make sure I'm on the right side. Yeah, that's where I carry it. Check how this fits. Still talking urban EDC, philosophy of use. If you're going to carry a Glock, again, use a holster, cover that trigger up, because this is soft. You could have something penetrate. I don't know. I just like a hard cover over that Glock trigger. How does that work? Pretty sweet. Now, is that perfect as far as speed of accessibility? I don't know. You be the judge. It's fast enough for me, and more importantly, you will have your gun on you when you need it. So, urban EDC, I would say absolutely. Some of you guys still have a problem with running a fanny pack. You know, as part of my EDC here in TMP for well over 4.5 years, I run a Mountain Smith Vibe 2, very small trim fanny pack to carry, I don't know, stuff like that. Whistles, mini titanium pry bars, extra light, important stuff. And everybody I run into never has any of that stuff, so yeah, that's the way I run. Now, some of you guys don't like the fanny pack. This might be a cooler option for you. It's definitely a more voluminous option, carrying a lot more gear. We'll talk about that. Fishing philosophy of use. Just got back from California not too long ago. That was a fish tacos expedition. You know, going out there, nailing the rockfish, coming back, cooking them up. Man, that was good. This is a perfect fishing vest. I do have one thing for improvement before I end the video. I'll cover. Day hike, backpacking philosophies of use. The nice thing about the Ribz pack is that it will help distribute the weight. So you can move some of those things that were in your backpack to the front, and it'll balance your load out a little bit better. And I think that's probably its primary calling. Day hiking, backpacking philosophy of use. It's ideal in that situation, and I tested it pretty hard in that. Hunting philosophy of use. You could use it to hold calls, extra ammunition, and oh, I forgot to show you, I did have binoculars with over the ledge trip. Compact Zeiss. and you could use your optics too. And here's another one. I got to raise the camera up because this is a third Ribz pack I'm going to show you, and this will finish the short POU discussion. That is a large Ribz pack in green. I think now they're doing OD green, not this coloration. How about medical kit? This is a level 2 FAC by myself that I put together, and it is a perfect first aid kit receptacle. Especially, I'm talking a serious level 2 plus kit, which generally this one is. That you have major blood loss capabilities. I put this rubber band around it to keep the two halves put together. You guys want me to get into this now, don't you? Maybe I'll make a separate video. Look at the space this thing has. Everything's readily available right there. Reference my level 2 first aid kit series of videos if you're interested. Perfect, ideal. I really think the calling of the large Ribz front pack primarily is a first aid kit holder. It's probably my favorite I've found to this point. You strap it on, it carries stable, and that'll take us into, well, finish up POU and take us into construction and capacity. You're looking at it. Sometimes these straps may get confusing, especially in a single color like black. Construction is, and quality I should say for that matter, is excellent. They use 200 denier ripstop nylon, and that is a perfect material for this. I could not improve the material choice in the Ribz front pack. I don't want Cordura, it's too heavy. And when its WDR wears off, it soaks up water. Perfect. 9 ounces, or 9 to 10 ounces, I think I weighed this one for the weight. And that's, I don't know if they call it the small or the medium. And then the other one, the larger one's going to be a little bit heavier, around 11 or 12 ounces, depending on the fabric construction. 600 to 800 cubic inches is what they're going to hold. I think the smaller, of course, around 600. You're going to have YKK zippers on it. I wouldn't change them at all. Well, there is one thing I want to change about zippers, but not the quality and the size of the zipper. There's the front main zipper. Had no problems with it at all. And then you have your smaller ones right there. Let's take a look at the stitching. When you get your Ribz front pack, you might have some fraying going on the inside. And I'm just talking about stray strands of nylon. I had to take my lighters and kind of singe it a little bit. And the reason that's important because those stray nylon strands can get in your zipper and cause problems. I don't blame Ribz at all for that. That's just the way it's put together. Probably an overseas produced product if it's sewn up here in the US. If they can find anybody that sews them in the US, the price on this thing is probably going to triple. So there's some right there. So just singe that with a lighter. You won't have a problem. Stitching is outstanding throughout. I had no stitching failures at all. You can see you have some interior mesh pockets. I love that setup. It was very helpful in organizing all your stuff. Then you have a front elastic band on the front there. I'm talking the interior. And notice the polyurethane coating on the ripstop nylon right here. Same thing you have on tents. That's a PU coating, polyurethane, and it's waterproof. Binding of the interior seams. You don't see exposed interior seams. But Nutnfancy said it was fraying inside. Nah, it's just stray, I don't know, strands of nylon. They kind of sneak under there. Every nylon product that I've seen, not every, but most will have that. Love it. There's your exterior pocket right there. Lots of storage space, lots of ways to organize your stuff. And I guess I'll show you before the video ends how I kind of threw my stuff in there. For what it's worth, probably not much. And before I forget, the small zippers have a Ribz proprietary zipper pull on them with kind of the cool Ribz logo molded into them. Wicked. The main zipper, honestly, I don't remember if they came with one or not. Doesn't matter because I wanted something longer and more accessible with gloves. So I tied on, as you can see, a Kelty Trip Tease line. And that's reflective in light, so I can find my Ribz front pack at a dark campsite if I need to. This right here is my own addition. It's actually a little fishing swivel that I put on there, and on the shoulder strap I sewed this little hook right here. The reason I did that is because I was afraid in use this zipper was going to come falling down under high activity. In use, I really didn't see that happening. The idea, by the way, was to hook that into there, and it does work. My understanding is current Ribz front packs have their cut changed, and so that whole problem, or possibility I should say, has been pretty much mitigated. So overall, great job with the zippers. Only a minor change, like I say. I'll talk about that here in a sec. And that takes us to the straps of the Ribz front pack. I am kind of picky when it comes to quality levels of whatever type of nylon gear I'm reviewing and using, whether it's outdoor or tactical. I don't like cheesy nylon, and you won't find it here in the Ribz front pack. This is probably the highest grade nylon strap, and that's important because it won't fray up on you over time, and also it's the lightest weight you can find. This particular style of nylon webbing. There's your adjustment buckle, probably Fast Tex as well. This is a contrasting color adjustment loop for that buckle. Love that. There's your shoulder strap. One criticism on the shoulder strap, I don't know if it's a criticism because they just don't know what size you are, is that it will slide along the entire length of that nylon strap. Let me see. This is the one Tactical Doodle wore in Over the Ledge. Excuse me. And you can see what I'm talking about. So they don't know how tall you are, how short you are. What I would recommend, and what I have done on my own Ribz front packs, is tack them down with a little bit of sewing once you find out what your adjustment is. The reason is when that's running under a backpack, these are going to slide all over the place, and they might even do this on you as well. I don't know if I can, there we go. They might bunch up. Whereas if you have it bar tacked here and here, they're going to lock into position. They're going to stay flat, comfortable because they have ventilation under them, and you won't have any problems. That's what I did with this black Ribz front pack. So it's locked in, it's not going to bunch. Perfect. The suspension system, well done. And actually I'll end by saying the quality and construction overall of the Ribz front pack is outstanding. And that's coming from a use perspective, having gone out and thumped on them in multiple adventures. Enough of that. That takes us to fit and stability. Quality's fine, but if this thing doesn't ride comfortably, if it doesn't carry the gear in such a manner that is non-obnoxious to me and that is functional, I'm not interested. The good news is I was very impressed with how the Ribz ride on you. They don't twist around, they don't bounce. You can tighten them up as you need to. You can raise or lower them so you can carry it low around your waist or higher up, as Ribz recommends, around the rib cage, hence the name. That's pretty much how I did it, right as they recommend. And once again, I find that once you have these bar tacked, these straps underneath a backpacking system work just fine. They're very thin, they're not compressing and causing some, I don't know, problems comfort-wise. The small will fit, they say, I think 26 to 36 inch waist. That's the small right here. This is the one I prefer generally in my outdoor activities. The large will fit 32 to 44 inch waist. This is a large Ribz pack. And you might want to ask yourself, if you fit into both of those waist ranges, you might want to ask yourself, how much size do I need for the Ribz? And it just depends what you're carrying. Again, I said this at the intro, don't overdo it. Don't carry stuff in the front that you don't really need immediately. You might be surprised that I don't have my level 1 first aid kit integrated into my outdoor system Ribz. That's because usually I'm right there at the campsite, and it takes up a lot of room. It makes accessing the other gear a little bit problematic, unless I'm running a large Ribz, and it'll work out perfectly. When I went away from the camp, actually I did jam one in there, and it did fit, although I looked like a chipmunk with his cheeks full of nuts. Fit and stability, excellent. Fits with pack straps. Wrapping it up onto value. Around $60 has been the price for the Ribz for the last few years, I think. Look in the upper right, use that code direct at the Ribz website for a special subscriber price for the Nutnfancy project, folks. That's the lowest prices I can get you, and I highly recommend integrating this into your own systems, you'll absolutely love it. And that will bring me to another POU I forgot, and that is a gift item. For someone who's an adventurer, an outdoors person, a survival type person, Ribz front pack would be an excellent gear item. By the way, I'm forgetting to show you, I have it somewhere in the back, they do come with a carry sack, so you can actually compress the Ribz front pack up, roll it into its really cool carry sack. Didn't do that. I did say I had a couple improvements. They go something like this. One of the things I would like to see changed, and this is minor, maybe not so minor, depending on your philosophy of use, is I want a double zipper pull on these main zippers right here. See, it has a single pull, and so every time I found while adventuring, I was out, I had to make sure, and this is a very important point, that you close your Ribz front pack all the way down here, because if you don't, when you kneel over, some of that stuff you got just may go tumbling out and you may lose it, especially when you're over water. So while I was fishing, I was really making sure I was bringing this all the way down, closing it. If you had a double zipper pull, then you could bring the bottom zipper pull up here, meet in the corner, and now I only have to bring it to this portion here to close it. And as well, it's quicker too, because I don't have to round this corner to open it each time, and if you're carrying a gun, that might be important as well. So maybe, just maybe in future versions, we can just put another zipper pull right here. And if you don't want to use it, just bring it all the way down here. That'd be my first recommendation. Also, the one you're looking at right here, the integration of Velcro. I sewed this on myself. It's a strip of Velcro for name tapes, morale patches, and it's just a small strip like that. On one side, I prefer the right, and you can throw it on there. Especially if military guys decide to use it, they can throw their name tape up there and identify their gear as theirs. Maybe ventilate the back. This is the back side. You can see I probably need to take a lighter to these because they're fraying up just a little bit with the use I put on it. Maybe not though, and what I'm talking about is like a channel venting system on the back. The reason I say maybe not, because one, it'd probably add cost. Two, it would probably add weight. And I actually backpacked with this in some pretty hot environments and it wasn't obnoxious. You are going to sweat back here. It is going to pretty much get warm, as to be expected. I don't know, just a thought. And I don't really want to see this either on the back. I'm talking mesh, because then we can get seeds, all types of other weeds and crap back there, and it's just a nightmare to bring them all out. That's about it. I don't really know how to improve this product. It pretty much rocks. If you choose it as a level 2 or level 1 first aid kit holder, it is ideal. Totally worth the cost. Probably the best level 2 first aid kit holder that I've found in the world to date. That is the Ribz front pack. Maybe I'll make a separate video breaking that out. You guys have seen my level 2 stuff already. There's a whole cottage industry out there on it now after my vids. And there's the camouflage version. Colorations, which one do you prefer, Nutnfancy? I would say black is my overall favorite color because you can urban EDC that easily. They have a darker olive drab coloration of this, which is just awesome. It is also extremely versatile, looks great. This is their camouflage pattern. They're all great. Pick your best one. Gear Adventure Channel, the Nutnfancy project. This pretty much shows what it's all about. Getting out there, getting it done, integrating stuff into your systems in a workable and comfortable fashion that's durable. I love the Ribz front pack. That is the Nutnfancy review. See ya.